Have you ever seen the meme about the strippers, Hitler and Stalin? If not, check it out right here. This is a nerdy grammar joke to be sure, but it shows how simple punctuation can change the meaning of a sentence completely. So, what is the Oxford comma? How do you know when to use it? And why should you? That's what I'm going to answer here today. Here's another example of the Oxford comma that I want you to take a look at right here. It says, I love my parents, Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty. Second one says, I love my parents, Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty. Let's start with the basics here. The Oxford comma, otherwise known as a serial comma, is that comma that you see between the next to last and the last options in a list. So the comma is just before the and what it does is it adds clarity and helps you know whether you're talking about their parents, who are Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty, or whether they're talking about how they love their parents, they love Lady Gaga, the performer, and they love Humpty Dumpty, the children's story. If you take a look at these two sentences, you can see how that single comma just before the and can make all the difference in the world. So where does the Oxford comma come from? The Oxford comma traces its origins back to the early 1900s and the Oxford University Press. It's largely attributed to Horace Hart. He was their printer and controller, and he mandated its use in their style guide. The term Oxford comma wasn't officially coined until 1978 in Peter Sutcliffe's book. So how do you know if you should use the Oxford comma or not? This is where it gets interesting. The Oxford comma is actually one of the most debated grammar preferences in all of writing. But I said preference. Is it a preference? Is it a rule? Let's take a look a little bit deeper. I want to be clear about something. The Oxford comma is a preference. It is not a grammar rule. That means it's not correct or incorrect to use it or not to use it. It's simply your preference. But it's a preference that people care very strongly about because, as we saw earlier with the two examples, it adds or detracts from clarity. Anecdotally, and from Editor Ninja's experience of working with 100 plus companies, one of the most common style guides that we hear when we ask prospects or new clients about their work is, we use the AP style, but we also use the Oxford comma. Some major style guides like the Chicago Manual of Style or MLA do mandate the Oxford comma. AP style does not, but most companies that use the AP style also use the Oxford comma. So if the style does not mandate it, but they're using it, probably tells you something about its usage. Because the Oxford comma is a preference, just like a lot of other things in grammar, it's not really important whether you use it or not. What's important is that you're consistent with its usage. Most reputable publications and content marketing teams have a style guide, so whether you prefer using it or not, if you're a freelance writer or a marketer or a journalist, what's important is that you follow their specific specifications. Because if you don't, if you try to put in your own feelings, your own preferences into the piece, it's just going to be edited out anyways. I personally love the Oxford comma. I see no reason not to use it. It adds so much clarity in writing, and it's a win anytime we as editors or writers can use something like this simple little grammatical preference to help our readers understand better what we're trying to say. So, should you use the Oxford comma? There is no should, but it is our strong recommendation to use it simply because it adds so much clarity to writing. So what do you think? Leave your opinion in the comments. Be nice, of course, and I'll respond to them. I'm John Doherty. I'll talk to you later.